Dan Greider, Probable Cause. It is June 16, 2024. It's Father's Day. I hope you had and are having a great Father's Day. Celebrate either being a dad or the dad that you had or whatever you can do here today. It's a special day, and I've spent a little bit of time getting this report ready for you here on Sunday evening. I hope you'll enjoy it. We got quite a few things to talk about, but most importantly, check in on the live chat here. I appreciate you guys checking in, and I've had a chance to meet several of you in person now from the live chat to let me know who you are and where you're from, and all that's a lot of fun. Where are you, and where are you checking in from on the live chat here tonight on Father's Day? We got quite a few things to talk about. I'm going to save the juicy stuff for the very end. I got basically four basic things here. You know, we lost a Lockheed Electra that's similar to the airplane that lost Amelia Earhart in the Pacific on her round-the-world attempt. The Lockheed 12A is called the Junior. It's a little bit smaller than the one that Amelia was in, but it's 12A. There's only probably about 8 of these things left, and now we have one less. Lost 2 fine Americans yesterday. Our deepest respects and condolences. This is a mix of both a sad song, a tragic song, and a horrible song all at the same time. I'm going to tell you how that works at the very end. You know me, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I'm going to tell you what my opinion is of the whole thing. Does not change the fact that we lost 2 fine citizens out of the deal. I wish it hadn't happened. What I have to say, I hope maybe will prevent this kind of thing from happening in the future. I've also got a little bit to say about EAA and what's coming up here. I'll save that for the very end. We had a EAA mishap up in Virginia here the other day. I've got video of the B-17 landing up in Virginia. After landing during ride-hopping operations, the B-17 taxied into a fuel truck and destroyed a wingtip, so they're grounded up there for a few days. I'll tell you a little bit about that, but we're going to get right into it here this evening. Welcome. It's Sunday night, June 16th, Father's Day, and welcome. You know, so far for the month of June 2024, we've had 10 general aviation fatals that I know of. Of course, the day isn't quite over yet. And I want to give you the numbers here for the year 2024. Let's compare with 2023, 1 year ago to date right now. And remember, 2023 was a very, very good year. Record setting in terms of the lowest number of general aviation fatal accidents per year in 2023. We have never seen such a good year as last year. Last year, year to date, on June 16th, we had 76 general aviation fatals. Where are we at today? We're at 54 for today. So we're 22 fatal accidents lower than last year. I think that's cause for celebration. Not that we're celebrating the 54 that we have had, but we're down 22. We're 22 airplanes saved. Why is that? I'm not exactly sure exactly why, other than the fact that internet, the news and information, pictures, ATC, ADSB, live flight tracks, they're all getting out there faster. People are paying attention, and people are sitting at home watching Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube trying to figure out what the last guy did so that he doesn't do it. It's some classic information. It's the same thing I've always said here. Your private pilot's license got you a license to learn how to fly the airplane. Now there's some things that are going to happen to you, and we want you to know about those. That's what this whole purpose of my YouTube channel is, and everything that I'm doing. I got back from MZZ here. I took Dylan. We went up there. Actually, Dylan took me. We flew a little Cherokee up there yesterday. KMZZ, Marion, Indiana. I want to say special thanks to Jason Smoker up there. A guy that's got a 182 in a hangar. Next to him was a guy named Dwight, who has a fantastic hangar. Dwight Ott opened his hangar, which he does once a month, for a safety stand down. How's that for an idea? Here's a guy that opens his hangar at his own expense once a month, provides coffee and donuts in open hangar for conversation, hangar flying, talking, ways to improve safety. So I was the invited guest yesterday. Andy, the airport manager, Dwayne, Jason Smoker, all those people, they invited us up for the day. They even paid a hotel room, which we're not used to and don't expect, but we appreciate that. We got a night in the Holiday Inn last Friday night, and we spoke on Saturday morning. Now, here's the really cool thing about this thing up there. They had 20 cadets up there for an 8-week program in Marion, Indiana. The ramp was full of Cessna 172s, and they had 20 cadets up there who were going to learn to fly. They're going to go from zero to private pilot in 8 weeks. Now, that is a task, and all of them were there. I got to speak to all of them at the same time. That video and that presentation is still online today. I recorded it live off of this cheap, cheesy little cell phone. It's on there right now, and I'll upload a better, higher quality version of yesterday's presentation shortly, but I'm going to show you just a quick clip from there. You know me, I always carry a guitar, and I have a little bit of fun with the audience wherever I can. I picked out one of the cadets out of the audience, and I had a little bit of fun, but I have a point to make. This whole AQP, DMMS thing, Staying Alive, I played the guitar, I played Staying Alive, and here's a quick, short little clip from yesterday live that I stole off the internet here, that I stole off the live. The audio is not great, so suffer through it for just a minute. All right, I'll pick the girl with the pink shirt right here. She just volunteered. Thank you. You can stand right over here. There you go. And your name is?
Caroline.
Caroline. And you're from?
Colorado.
All right. What part of Colorado?
Denver, Colorado.
I've heard of it. Yeah, it's a growing town. It's got a good chance. So you're learning to fly. Have you soloed yet?
No.
No. Okay. About how many hours do you think you have?
7 or 8.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm going to do a couple of demonstrations with Caroline. This is muscle memory. Watch this, Caroline. I'm going to show you how to do this. See how I do this? I'm talking to you at the same time, right? Because my fingers are in muscle memory. All right, now you go ahead and do the same thing. I showed you how to do it.
Yeah.
Listen. Do it slow. See there? Working it fast. Okay, there you go. Go!
Come on, Caroline.
Go! Do it! So sometimes in an airplane, it's not a matter of how loud the instructor yells at you. Do it! Do it! Well, she hasn't done it before. What does she need? Practice, instruction, rehearsal. Do you think Caroline could eventually do this? I don't know. So far, I don't know. No, she could. She definitely could. Now we're going to do another demonstration with Caroline here with the guitar. Ha! There you go. Did you see her eyes? What did her eyes do? Yeah, did you see that? You know why she did that? She's a human being. What's a human being reaction to an event that occurs that she was not expecting? Well, your body's going to move. Sometimes your hands flinch. It's like driving a car and you come across something and you go up and you slam on the brakes or you turn the wheel the wrong way. Those are reactions. Now watch this. I'm going to do the same thing with Caroline again. I often do this demonstration with people. I'm going to do the same thing again, Caroline, but I'm going to give you the heads up. I'm about to do it, okay? I'm going to try to scare you. I want you to look at the back wall, keep your eyes straight ahead, and I want you to not flinch, okay? You ready? And here it comes. See the difference? Tell me you're ready for it. Tell me you're ready for it. There's the difference. In your flight training, there's going to be things that happen to you. They're not normal. They're things that, bam, you're either on fire, or your engine quit, or you heard a noise, or you hit a bird, or you lost oil pressure. Those things are going to happen to you. So we have to be rehearsed for those. All right, big hand for Caroline. How was that for fun? So I've been traveling about the last three and a half years. I do one, sometimes two of these meetings per month. I don't charge any money. I travel at my own expense. I sleep on a floor, and I'll eat a cheeseburger wherever you're at. I reserve the right to record it and promote it and do these things for free. I don't charge any speaking expenses or anything like that, and I appreciate the opportunity. Right now, I've got like 50 invites from across the country. I'm going to try to get to as many of those as I can going on here through the summer and this fall. It is a lot of fun. I always make good friends every place I go. People are very receptive to hearing some of the stuff. It is some hard talk to listen to because I'm going to try to tell you how not to die in your airplane, but I think it's talk that we have to do. I think we have to talk about all this. I'm going to put a picture up on the screen here. This is my friend out in California. His name is Charlie Santoni. Look at this. He had an engine failure in a Cessna 185. He landed in the corn. I'm an expert at landing in the corn because I've done it. Charlie skimmed the tops of the corn, landed his 185, flipped over, and he's fine. I did not get a chance to talk to him, but I did get a chance to talk to his wife. He is totally fine. Guess what? He unbuckled, stepped out, called his wife, and they went to dinner. He did not stall and spin his airplane, which is the whole point of June's data, which I'm going to put up on the screen here right now. Check this out. This is June data, and I'll start right here at the very top of this thing. And I want you to look at all the DMMS on this sheet here. June 6, DMMS. June 10, DMMS. June 11, DMMS. June 12, DMMS. And June 14, DMMS. I'm going to go through these one by one. We've already talked about some of these, but we've had 5 since last Sunday night. So June 6 was the DMMS. That's the RV-12. We think might have been a flight control issue in combination with that, don't know. 150 Whiskey Romeo, that's the V35 in Colorado. That's the mishandled abnormal. Tom Sawyer, age 47. We have just recently learned that his wife died. Remember, she was trapped in the airplane and got severely burned. She recently passed away, so that converted this one from an incident to a fatal, so we had to add it to the June list. That's Mr. Sawyer. Here's a picture of his family out there. A horrible, horrific loss out there. Then we've already talked about the T-34, the astronaut, Bill Anders. He was 90 years old, low-level acro. No disrespect intended. I think Bill simply started this maneuver a little bit low. He was a little bit close to shore. I'm not sure who was in that boat that was filming, but boy, it sure looked like a low-level impromptu air show for somebody. Did not start it high enough, did not have enough real estate to pull out. Nothing against Bill, nothing against the Anders family, but boy, I sure wish Bill had started about 300 feet higher and he'd be alive today. A horrible accident, loss of a beautiful T-34. Our respects and condolences to that family in that loss. Bill was one of the guys that went to the moon. He's the guy that took that moonrise picture from the command module looking back at Earth. Probably one of the most copied photographed historic photos of the world. Ended up in Time Life magazine. Ended up all Pulitzer Prize winning photo by Bill Anders. Shot from the, I believe it was Apollo 8, if my memory serves me correctly there. But that was Bill Anders, and he's no longer with us, age 90. The next one we have on here, this is James Galvin, age 68. This is a RANS S12XL in Arizona. I put rising terrain on here. We don't know if we're absolutely sure. Probably stall spin had something to do with rising terrain, but I got very little information on this. The next one, Kevin Krieger, 46. This is in Michigan. This is the first of our DMMS. This is defined minimum maneuvering speeds. This is lack of speed awareness. Here's the graphic for it. Kevin with his student. 5 of these accidents lost due to lack of speed awareness. The next one, 656 Mike Alpha. This is the 172R in Texas. Her name is Bailey Maldonado, age 27. She was a brand new CFI. She'd only been on the property for a few weeks. This is the same flight school that the other girl crashed the airplane at in Connecticut last week, lost an engine and tried to glide to a field, almost made it. The girl up in Connecticut, she's going to be okay. She survived that. Her airplane did not burn. This one in Texas with Bailey, both student and CFI are dead. I put the graphic up on here. Notice the ADS-B data does this triangle thing like they were not going down the runway. They were. It's just that when they get low, the ADS-B points don't connect, and they try to draw a straight line. So I put this yellow in here. This is their actual flight path. This is a stall spin from crosswind to downwind. This is lack of DMS. The wreckage is found just below this turn from crosswind to downwind, and here it is. The next one, a 177. This is Brian O'Rourke, 54 years old. He's an airline pilot flying a Cardinal. I would not have flown a Super Cub into this strip. Well, actually, I would have, but he tried to fly a Cardinal in here. He stalled and spun this thing left base, landing south in Idaho to this strip. Both of his boys survived the crash, crawled out of the airplane. They could not get their dad out, and the airplane caught fire. The dad burned inside the airplane. The two boys stumbled to a highway, walked to a highway where they could flag down a car and get some help. A horrible, horrible loss of Brian and that aircraft out there. Lack of speed. Boy, you go into a strip like this out here in Idaho, you better be paying attention to speed. And this whole thing just looks a little risky for me. That's a short strip, high field elevation, high risk. 3 people on board a Cardinal. Probably not a great idea in the first place. Here's the next one. We'll put it up on the screen. This is a rising terrain. This is 37081. This is a Luscombe. This is an 8A out in Nevada. I'll put the graphic up on here. I'll show you this. These guys took off 2 people in an underregistered. This guy had no pilot's license. It wasn't registered, and they tried to outclimb the terrain, leaving South Tahoe, going to the south, climbing out over this road. Here's the path that they went, and here's where they ended up at right here. They were trying to cross Luther Pass, and you can see right here, they almost made it. They tried to turn around when they realized the airplane could not outclimb the terrain. Their fatal error was trying to turn around. It's when they tried to turn around is when the airplane stalled and spun. High elevation, high altitude, high density altitude. The wing's not going to fly. The engine wasn't producing power, and down they went. Both of them dead. I don't have names or pictures yet. A lot of information missing on this particular one, but a bad idea all around. A Luscombe out here trying to outclimb this terrain, following this road up the canyon. Never a good idea. Please don't do that. The next one, North Carolina, Siler City, North Carolina, November 515 Delta Hotel. Here's a picture of the airplane. Another tragic stall spin. Here it is. Here's my graphic for it. Here's the ADS-B data. Here's where I think the airplane went. These guys let this airplane get slow. A student and instructor died. This is a Cherokee 140. This is the exact same airplane Dylan is flying, within a few serial numbers. Dylan's and this accident airplane are both 1969 models. A horrible airplane. I hope that Dylan is completely bulletproofed on never, ever getting close to DMMS in the pattern below 1,000 feet. No more than 30 degrees bank, no less than DMMS, and you pay attention to your speed. You stay coordinated, young man. You stay coordinated. Don't bust DMMS until you're on final wings level. Then you can go to more flaps and VREF and a stabilized approach all the way in. That's the way you ought to fly it. 5 of these things. 5 DMMS fatals in the month of June so far. Have we had enough? Have you had enough? Can we not do something about placarding and honoring defined minimum maneuvering speed in our general aviation aircraft? The last one is from Chino, and I'm going to talk about this at the very end. This is November 9-3 Romeo, the Lockheed 12A in California. I'll put it on here. It's a full flap takeoff. I'm going to tell you who it was and why they did this and what the whole story was when we get to that in just a second. I got a few other topics to talk about before we get to that. Put your seatbelt on and brace for impact, because I'm going to tell you the whole Chino story, like it or not. June 11th was my birthday. We had a little celebration, a little cake and ice cream and celebrate. We got to fly the Cherokee quite a bit. We flew the DC-3. I had a couple people in town finishing up a DC-3 SIC course. Here's a little clip from that just to show you what it looked like. Sunset, last approach on this thing. And on the very last flight of the evening, there was a bunch of people around, so we threw a bunch of people on the airplane, went for a flight. Nobody paid any money for a ride in the DC-3. It's all free. Anybody that happened to be standing around got a ride in the DC-3. It's all good. I don't charge for rides. I don't have a ride authority or a ride certificate. I don't sell rides. I sell dual instruction. If somebody's qualified and wants to buy dual instruction of the DC-3, that's what I do sell. Any rides, even going in the airplane, touring the airplane. I've never charged to go inside the airplane, except for small children. If they want to go in the airplane, it's free, but I charge $10 to come out. That's how come there's a couple little kids still stuck in there back from 1989, still in there. No, I'm kidding. Free to go in, free to come out, free to ride the airplane. If we're going, you're welcome to ride the airplane anyway, if you're just going along for the ride. I don't sell any rides. This is the DC-3 landing. I'll show you this quick video footage here right now. Very short clip.
11, sun is going down. Been flying with 2 more knuckleheads in the DC-3. Forrest and Dave. We've been out here pounding out touch and goes in the Douglas DC-3. Cruise power. Cruise power. Cruise checklist. Sorry, man. Cruise power set. Cruise checklist is all complete, Captain. David here is flying the airplane. He's about to make his sunset. Full stop landing back in Hampton, so we'll catch this on video. Whatever happens, happens. Worst case, we'll send out the sweepers after we land, pick up the sweep up the big pieces. What do you think? Sounds like a plan. Especially after that last one. So what do you think of flying the DC-3?
I think it's an absolute blast. It's a lot of work, but it's worth the effort.
It's a manual airplane.
All right, let's go to descent checklist.
All right, it's complete.
Approach checklist.
That's complete.
At 20 on the manifold.
All right, you got 20 inches. DC-3 is left downwind runway 24 Speedway. We're full stop 24 Speedway.
We're clear at A22 from Puppet Speedway.
I'm going to give you, let's go nose up and full flaps. We got too much energy here.
Full flaps. Final checks.
Lights are set, boost pumps are on, flaps are full, landing checks complete. Alright, good.
Full stop or touch and go?
Full stop.
Full stop, okay. Talk me through the last part of it.
Good, up at the numbers, runway 13,
Nose down. We're slightly high, slightly fast, but we've got long runway here. We're going to touch down in the first 1,000 feet. We'll just let the speed bleed off here. Plenty of runway, winds are calm. There's red over white, just hold what you got right there.
Good, up at runway 13, please traffic. Peaceful traffic, 59 Tango is 5.5 to the northwest,
right, you're good.
Inbound
You're
to
good.
land runway 13. I'm going to make a straight in approach for 13. Be safe.
Oh, very nice. Alright, close the throttles all the way.
Good traffic.
That's good, that's good.
Now, if you notice, I'm going to show you the very, very end of this thing. I faded the DC-3 footage. This is the outside view with the inside view all together here. And I want you to watch again here after the airplane lands. Look at how high the tail is and how long the tail stays high.
There's red over white, just hold what you got right there.
Runway 13, please traffic. Peaceful traffic, 59 Tango is 5.5 to the northwest,
Alright, you're good.
Inbound
You're
to
good.
land runway 13. I'm going to make a straight in approach for 13. Be safe.
Oh, very nice. Alright, close the throttles all the way.
Good traffic.
That's good, that's good.
This is my complaint on the EAA airplane, the B-17 that landed up in Virginia here the other day. Here's the video footage of the B-17 landing. I'm not going to tell you who made this landing, but whoever made this landing was not supposed to be in either one of the front seats, and they let him land anyway, is the word I heard, and I'm not happy with the whole thing. This is a very tail low, out of control landing. Look at this airplane bounce. On the bounce, when it bounces this high, you're a go-around airplane. They did not go around. They tried to salvage this landing, and they did. This is ugly. The B-17 did give several rides up there at that airport that day. The B-17 was supposed to back taxi on the runway. Instead, whoever was the captain on this elected to taxi on the taxiway, a closed taxiway, and they hit a fuel truck. The fuel truck was parked, not in motion, and the B-17 is down for yet another long repair. This is EAA, Sentimental Journey, and this airplane is down. Bad decisions, bad everything. I'm not liking this whole thing. I smell another 909 on the horizon for Sentimental Journey. There's too many things wrong, too much slop, too many people in the wrong places, too many bad juju here on this entire B-17 EAA Sentimental Journey aircraft operation. You take one look at this landing, and this ought to scare you to no end. Speaking of EAA, I'm involved with the helicopter crash, the gyro that hit the helicopter last year from a year ago. Lots of problems have been uncovered off that thing. I'm in contact with at least one of the law firms. Remember, 2 people died on top of the helicopter that got hit. Both the pilot and the passenger died on that airplane. 2 independent law firms representing the family of each of the deceased. I got the entire FOI, the Freedom of Information Act request. Everything that's been known to mankind regarding paperwork regarding these things, I got sent a copy of all that. Guess what? There's no waivers, there's no limitations, there's no anything in all of this stuff for EAA. I've got all this stuff. Yes, they had a waiver for people to sign, but here's the thing. I'm going to put this on the screen. In order for you to operate inside of a Class D operation at an airport like Oshkosh, it's a control tower. Waivered airspace is not in effect. When this accident happened, you're a control tower, you're Class D. You have to comply with all the rules of Class D unless you have a waiver. And here's the standard sample list of waiver regulations for aviation events. They give you a sample of what you can waive if you waive them. 91-126, operating on or in the vicinity of an airport in Class G airspace. 91-129, operations in Class D airspace. Aircraft operating in Class D airspace need not comply with 91-126B1. Each person operating an aircraft in Class D airspace need not meet two-way radio communications. 91-129. Now, these are waivers. Aircraft may operate in Class D waivered airspace without circling to the left. These are all waivers that you can get. These are standard waivers that are issued if you have a waiver. Guess what? EAA did not get a waiver for any of these things. What they have is the obligation. I'll put this on the screen here. This is from the NTSB, the Federal Aviation Regulations of the Force and Effective Law, United States versus Schultz. Pilots have a duty to comply with the Federal Aviation Regulations, and violation of them is negligence as a matter of law. It's negligence as a matter of law. If you're operating inside this airspace as a fun zone, you're being negligent because you don't have a waiver. You have to have a waiver. You have to either go by the rules of 91-129 or else you have to have a waiver. There is no waiver for the fun zone. I'm going to put this up on the screen here. Here is the FAA produced this email here shortly after my last Sunday night video here. I'll put this on the screen. All of a sudden, the FAA Fast Team wants to put this out. They're going to do a seminar on this whole thing, and check this out. They call it the Fun Fly Zone. Well, this is their seminar, and I want to say, actually, operations within a Class D surface area require either 1, an FAA-issued waiver, which they did not have, or 2, FAA ATC clearance. A NOTAM, which they have, does not relieve a pilot of any FAR legal obligation. You can't disregard federal aviation regulations on the basis of a NOTAM. The NOTAM is information. It's a notice. It's information for pilots. It is not a waiver of regulation. EAA does not have the brasher. I've got this whole thing in process here. EAA has worked out some kind of a deal under the table with FAA to not issue brasher for pilots intentionally, blatantly doing illegal and unsafe acts. There has never been a brasher issued at EAA AirVenture, and I think that's wrong. That's encouraging the cowboy wrong kind of activity and illicit operation that caused this exact helicopter crash. There's going to be another one. There's going to be an even bigger and stronger and more powerful and more deadly one. EAA knows about it. FAA knows about it. You cannot operate a fun fly zone at EAA AirVenture without rules, without a waiver, without deciding how to do this. You cannot do it. If they go and do this again, they've already been put on notice. You can't do this. And I know EAA, they're going to do it anyway.
We had 20 opposite directions, of which a couple of them I went and talked to. Dan, I personally saw 4 or 5 airplanes cross runways without a clearance. One of them was a King Air 350. I mean, that's a serious airplane, right? I went over and talked to the pilot, young kid, I'm guessing mid-30s. And his response was, well, you know, your guys were giving me mixed messages, which was not true because I was standing there watching the whole thing. And, you know, I said, did you see the airplane you went right underneath? Well, yeah, but he was high enough that it wasn't an issue, so we just went. And I asked him the question. I said, would you do that at your home airport, right? And he's like, no. I'm like, why would you do it at the busiest airport in the world? You know what I mean?
Right.
That happened 3 or 4 times, Dan. A Cessna did it, a Bonanza did it, the King Air did it. We had vehicles And I spent most of my time up by 27 because that 27 and Alpha intersection is just a shit show, right? We had, I bet we had 10 plus vehicles cross the runway without talking to anybody that I had to chase down, and just varying excuses. So when you say 20 opposite directions, you know, I would say 30, at least 30, you know, pilot errors that could have been catastrophic.
Pilot deviations that could have been catastrophic.
That in the real world would have been a Brasher warning, and FSDO would have investigated.
And
Yes.
how many Brashers did you issue for the whole air venture?
None.
Why is that?
You know, we never have, Dan. I'll be honest with you. We never have.
Speaking of FAA, they're not very happy with me for calling this stuff out. I've been kind of bold. I probably would have been one of the guys that jumped on board that boat back in 1700s and dumped the T overboard. I'm not happy with it, and I'm going to be vocal about it. We only make change when we have the courage to stand up and make change. I'm going to tell you, yes, they're not happy. FAA has issued me a whole bunch of letters of investigation. They're all bogus. Most of them have been closed out, but I'm going to show you this email that I got from FSDO. This is Atlanta FSDO. They're issuing me certified letters of investigation, like I'm under investigation. Check this out. I've blocked out most of this stuff here, but I'm going to read it to you here. This says, this is from a FSDO guy regarding FAA Part 23 training methods, operating limitations of aircraft, subjective training methods and answers. I previously informed you that I am not able to and will not make subjective opinions regarding what is or is not legal flight training, operations, limitations, etc. Number 2, he says, I am not able to provide you and will not provide a subjective answer regarding your inquiries. After reviewing your inquiries from your previous emails and phone calls, it will be best for each respective FAA division independently so you can obtain an objective and thorough answer to your inquiries. Listen to this. Regarding the LOIs that you've already sent me that you're referencing in email, I informed you that the 2 investigations into the complaint that the Atlanta FSDO received regarding DC-3 operations at the Speedway Airport have been closed with no fine. They're going to send out an LOI knowing that both of them are bogus, and then they're going to close them and not even send me a letter to tell me that they're closed. This is specifically targeted harassment. There's other issues going on here. Specifically, I made the complaint that the VMC demo for multi-engine operations is unsafe. It's illegal. The VMC demo causes the instructor or the examiner to have to block one rudder on a Part 23 airplane so that the applicant cannot get full use of the rudder so that the airplane will VMC yaw before it will stall. That's blocking a control surface in flight. It's unsafe. It's illegal. That's what's caused our 5 general aviation multi-engine training fatals in the last 1 year. We've had 5 of them in training, one of them with an examiner on board. You spin a Seminole, a Duchess, a Traveler, you spin one from 6,000 feet and you're going to ride it all the way in. These are people blocking the rudder in the purpose of accomplishing the FAA required VMC demo. Doesn't do anything for us, and we've got it where the FAA is requiring you to block one rudder. Who's flying the airplane? You can't have 2 people with hands and feet on controls. One person flies, the other person does not. You cannot have 2 sets of pilots touching and operating and manipulating the controls, even for a check ride. It's illegal. It's unsafe. It's what's causing our VMC demo deaths in the multi-engine flight training world. If I were you, getting ready to take a check ride, if I were an examiner, an instructor, I would put your foot down and say, I'm not doing the VMC demo. It's deadly. You're going to end up dead trying to accomplish a VMC demo, and having one person block the rudder in order to accomplish a VMC demo is clearly illegal. This is the email right here on the screen, and I'll let you know what happens with all this. But I am fired up about this. I am writing emails, and we are going to solve this. The issues on this thing are even deeper due to the fact that the FSDO and one particular individual let me know that NTSB and FAA are going to gang up on me and to watch my back. I'm not happy with that, and they're going to hear about it. Now, I've got to talk about this Lockheed L-12A out in California. The guy's name was Charles Nichols. He's very elderly. His wife, Judith, just died in 2022. They'd been married 66 years. Charles and Judith had 2 children, 2 daughters. One of the daughters married a guy named Frank. Frank was the director of operations. His name was Frank Wright. He was the director of operations at the Yankee Air Museum. So basically, it's his father-in-law with all the money. His father-in-law's got the RV park, the restaurant, the airplanes. The father-in-law, Mr. Nichols, has bought all this kind of stuff. His son-in-law and his daughter get to run all this kind of stuff. Frank has a son. His name's Casey. Casey's a mechanic, although I cannot find any kind of a credential for Casey as a mechanic or a pilot in either case. Here's what the deal is. Casey and Frank worked on these airplanes. They have a whole team. Are they good people? I think they are. I think they were. Frank is the one that died out here. His name was Frank Wright. Frank died in this airplane, and here's what happened. Frank became a private pilot multi-engine here very recently. Here's a picture of it. He's holding a picture of a certificate. Now Frank wants to go and give a ride. In the right seat is a guy who I can't even tell if he's a multi-engine instructor or not. I don't think that he's current. His name was Mike Giles, and he was in the right seat. They went and taxied out with the crowd. This was Pops and Props Day yesterday. This was only 24 hours ago out in California. They taxied out. Due to the number of people around, they elected to start the airplane and taxi out with the flaps full down. The only problem was they made a takeoff and they forgot. The flaps are down. They didn't do it before takeoff check. They should have verified it before they taxied on a before taxi checklist. They should have verified it as a hot item. They should have verified it on the before takeoff checklist. Flaps up. Flaps and trim are set. You've got to. They made a full flap takeoff and they got surprised. They got it in the air. This thing leaped into the air. It rose into the air in a 3-point attitude, and it was nose high, full power, and it stalled. It rolled left wing left. Let's listen to the description of one of the witnesses that watched this thing happen. It rolled left wing down, nose down. It hit, it impacted. As soon as it impacted, it exploded. Listen to this.
It was a Father's Day event here at Yanks Museum. I just met one of the pilots shortly before, took photos with him.
Friends identify one of the victims as Frank Wright, seen here on Yanks Air Museum website. He serves as the museum's chief of operations. The fiery crash happened around 12:30 at Chino Airport. The two pilots had been part of a panel discussion at the museum. They had just taken off in the vintage Lockheed 12A when something went wrong.
The plane started listing to the left, very sharp, very sharp, very sharp, and started going down. Took a nosedive, and the first part of the plane that hit was the left wing.
Witnesses say the plane was barely 300 feet in the air when it crashed to the ground, the wing erupting in flames as the cockpit took the brunt of the impact.
Immediate explosion, like big fireball, black smoke.
Frank's wife's name's Kristen. I'm very sorry for the entire family and relations and everybody out there. It should have never happened. Frank was not qualified to be left seat. The guy that was in the right seat, in my opinion, wasn't qualified to be right seat. He's only there because his father-in-law controls the purse strings and everything happens out there. I don't think either one of them should have been in that Lockheed 12A. It's basically a Beech 18. It's R985s. It's a powerful airplane. You got to know what you're doing. Most importantly, you got to follow the procedure, do the checklist, and you got to make sure everything is good. This is an airplane and two Americans that we will not get back due to this particular situation. Our deepest respects and condolences to all those at Yanks Air Museum and family and friends of Frank and Mike out there. We lost them yesterday, 24 hours ago right now. I do a lot of this traveling. It's on my own. If you want to support my efforts here, we got the DTSB Super Fund. I'll put that on the screen here, but I also have these that go directly to me. Your $1 and $2 non-tax deductible donations towards me and my travel, and my taco fund going up on the road here over the weekend cost a couple $100, no big deal. If you want to help do that, if you want to watch the video, that's still on the live on this feed. It's some very good information, and I'm going to continue to do those. Your support, $1 or $2, is very appropriate if you're able to. If not, I don't want you to worry about sending money if you're not able to. Zelle, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Appreciate that a lot. My next thing is in Texas on June 29. I'll be out there with Dr. Mike and his wife Saturday morning, another coffee and donut deal at Redbird Aviation, Redbird Field out there in Texas. It's my second time to go back out there. Coffee and donuts. It'll be me with the guitar. Scott Purdue is going to sing. Scott Purdue has written a poem about me, so I'm curious to hear that. And he's also going to sing out there on that Saturday morning, so I'm curious to hear that. But Scott, you didn't know it, but Scott Purdue is a vocalist, so we're all looking forward to that. Should be a very fun entertaining Saturday morning in Texas. Then after that, July 13th, I'll be down at 3 Mike something or other. Here's the graphic for it. Down there for another Saturday morning breakfast thing. And then I'm off for a few weeks until I get a few other things taken care of here regarding schedule. But I'll be back at it. My plate is full for August, September, and October. So far, I think it's all good. And I truly enjoy going out on the road and visiting some of these places once or twice a month. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to get out here and get this video up and on the air. I hope you'll stick around after this video for a quick live. We're going to do a quick live thing just for the fun of it after this video. Hang around. This video will end, and then the live thing will come on. It'll be just me and Dylan. Maybe we'll do a dad joke or two or something like that. We'll try to. For my tiny little itty-bitty fledgling YouTube channel, Dan Grider, probably follows.